Be happy.
I'm glad. Okay, so just a quick background. We met 2 years ago on the by the pool
Yep.
in Florida, which is we started a conversation, actually you and my husband, and then you find out I have MS, and we started talking about actually hormone replacement therapy, which
Yeah.
was very new to me at that time, and I'm
Yep.
excited to talk about here in our community because I know a lot of us have questions, including me, and I know you are an expert on this. So
We do a lot of it.
can you please share a little bit about your background and
Yes.
how you end up doing this?
So I was born and raised in Connecticut, northeast part of the United States. Did local high school, went to college at Yale, played lacrosse, was in sports arena, but always grew up in a family that was very medically driven. My father's a doctor, my sisters went into medicine. So I knew I had a passion for sciences. I also liked learning science because I think there's a good art data mix to it if you really take it for the right way it should be presented. Did the whole medical school thing, went to St. George's in Grenada, then did general surgery residency at Yale, and was an operating surgeon and doing a ton of operations and working in the system in corporate healthcare. And it was fine until it wasn't. And I kind of started to realize there's no true healthcare. And how was I going to promote health in this world by cutting out organs and just getting through the day rather than like promoting health and then the future of health? So I started looking into other arenas. Primary care really didn't cut it for me. And this is where I ended up. And I think the holistic naturopathic approach with an umbrella of endocrine association, meaning once you recognize that the brain is an egomaniacal, narcissistic maniac trying to get you to do stuff for it, and then you realize if you can match the organic delivery of the body to what the brain's asking, mental and physical health become nirvana, right? That's the perfect balance. So my whole goal is to achieve that mental health through physical health and vice versa. It's not really chicken or the egg. I think it's just the chicken and the egg came together is how you got to look at it. And that's how we got to deal with it now.
And you realize that during your medical practice, right? I feel like this is why we connected so quickly because we are on the same page when it comes
Yes.
to treating, when it comes to healthcare and when
Yep.
it comes to treating our body, what it needs, and how to bring it back to balance.
Exactly. And the craziest part to me, and I think it's all women on here, obviously, women's healthcare, you guys have to realize, is a completely sidebar, back of the stove. Like the medical world just doesn't care. It was only 1990s that women started becoming included in medical studies of population data. Like if you conceptually allow that to actually sit and that doesn't bother you at night and you're a physician, I don't know if empathy can be a thing or sympathy can be a thing. I don't know what those words mean. I just think it's a lack of knowledge of what's going on. So women's healthcare in particular then became a true passion. I mean, I know I don't the lion, the thing, I don't look like the epitome of a women's healthcare driver, but my true passion is women's healthcare.
Hmm. You might not look, but every word you say, it just resonates so much. So
I
thank you
try.
for focusing on that. Yes, and it's so interesting, even when it comes to multiple sclerosis, right? Because we all have it, and that's why we are here
Yep.
to talk about HRT and finding different methods how to heal our bodies.
Yep.
It's so interesting how they didn't test the medications on women before. I mean, all these trials going on, but it's not tested on women. Mostly men
Right.
are
Yep.
in these trials. So thank you for bringing up that point.
Of course. Of course.
Yes. So let's talk about. Can you share a little bit about ART and HRT? Sorry, and what it
Yep.
is, so everybody can understand.
Absolutely. And so HRT, hormone replacement therapy, I'm going to rename it a little bit and we're going to call it hormone optimization therapy. Now, there's a stage in a woman's life where it definitely becomes hormone replacement because there's zero and we're replacing the zero. But most of the time, even in a woman of perimenopausal age or menopausal age, there's always a little bit of lingering something. So the ideal mechanism is to balance all of it. Now, a woman's body throughout time, even on a monthly basis, goes through a wild amount of chemical changes, right? You have estrogen spikes, progesterone spikes, you have thyroid, insulin, you have glucagon, you have all these metabolic systems working together. So the whole goal is at what age is it appropriate, or at every age is it appropriate to balance your hormones? The minute you start to realize that at every age it's ideal to balance hormones because younger women have less, technically, medical complications than older women. And that's not really just because of the passage of time. Time is a made up entity, right? That's the sun going up and going down. Metabolic time is very different. So once you realize that there's not like an on and off switch and you realize that metabolism is a gray zone, you then can think to yourself, I'm not really replacing, I'm optimizing, and that can happen at every stage in the game. And one of the major stages is menopause. And that's one of these areas in time where a woman's body goes through a completely obvious change in hormonal balance, but the symptoms of that become more obvious. So, hormone optimization then becomes how do we intervene to allow a female body to go through a period of change that we thought was just a normal thing where it should just happen. But now we realize we can reverse a lot of the bad, deleterious symptoms of menopause with balancing a female's hormones, bone density, muscle loss, liver fat, cognitive, and in this arena, the neurovascular or neuroplasticity arena. Because if we think about it, MS is a relatively unknown entity, right? The true, like, okay, here's why it happens is not ideally found. But I do know in all of the data that if we have a better overall structural system or metabolic system to help somebody get through even any symptoms of an MS flare up or even the onset of it, we probably have a better shot of keeping whatever symptomatics come out lower or even avoiding them whatsoever.
Yes, nicely said. So, at what age do you recommend starting hormone replacement optimization?
I mean, at the risk of sounding out of my mind, I believe that every woman should have a thorough, real thorough checkup the minute they start getting their periods, right? So even at a young age. And here's why. You don't need to act on anything, right? But reproducibility of data needs to happen whether it's negative or positive. So if we start tracking our pediatric population of women, all of these diseases will then become obvious because there will be some biochemical marker that changed. But if we're avoiding the good, because in medicine, what happens when things are good? They just send you away, right? So if you're good triage wise and you appear to be healthy, you're not crying, you're not depressed, you don't want to kill yourself, and you don't have a disease on your skin, you're probably just getting told, like the way you look on the screen, and everybody I'm seeing, Nicole and Rachel, like no doctor's going to take a minute to sit with you because you appear to be healthy. Like both of you are thin face, you have nice cheeks, you have full head of hair, like vibrant skin. And if you think about that, why would I waste my time with you? Now, I know you have MS. I'm on a screen with you, so I have to then say, all right, these women are into this. Jackie, you too. But if we really embrace that statement, like you're not going to get triaged appropriately. So if one of you walks in early stage MS, you don't feel good, you're a little tired, you might have had a twitchy eye or a little bit of a lazy shoulder. What are they going to say to you guys? Ah, you're thin, you're in great health. You have an appetite? Great. Get out of here. We'll see you in a year. Well, now this just keeps progressing. And this is the hamster wheel of medicine. And it sucks being on it as a physician because if you don't literally jump off it and stop, you can't get off it because they keep sending you a paycheck for the more people you see. The more people you see, or the more women you triage as, oh, I don't need to see you till next year. You just keep procrastinating, procrastinating. The ideal scenario in that, where I started with this, is if we can collect data on young women, even with perfect progress through life. So, say we collect data on a woman who lived till 120. That's excellent data. That's actually the data we want because then we have some measurable of what was good. We only have measurables of the negative. And to work in hindsight off only negative values to predict positive results in the future for me is impossible as a doctor. I need data consistent, good, bad, or ugly, that then we can promote your healthcare. So I think the sooner the better that you can get a grip on data points that are trackable.
I'm sure you're familiar with Gary Braca,
Yes.
and he has his data after people died.
Yeah. Which is amazing. That's what we need. And that's what the medical industry is really lacking in women's health. Because if you think about it, how many women's health statistics come out and they're like, if you live till you're 18, you're guaranteed to have a healthy baby and a beautiful life. No. They push it like if you don't have a kid by 35, you're going to die of a heart attack and a stroke. There's zero positivity coming out of the medical world. Why? Because we only track the negatives. So I think I'm saying this because I don't want to like blow smoke up people's bottoms by promoting good, overly compensating for bad. But I do think we need to really study women's health all over again, but it has to start in that pediatric population because we have no idea what goes on through adolescence. Zero.
So I met your wife. She's amazing,
Thank you.
very fit,
She works here too.
amazing. So, are you doing anything like any hormone replacement? Like when did she start? Like, what are the symptoms that we have to look out for?
Yes. And I just want to give you guys a little insight. So my office is in a gym, right? So I don't just seek physical activity. I force it. And why do I feel like that's necessary? It's almost like a kid learning to do math. You have to do the exercise to get the health, whether you want to or not. It's like breathing, right? Like if you don't breathe, whether you want to or not, you won't survive. Exercise for me, especially with you guys in MS world, is such a big deal because your musculature is going to be your essentially your retirement plan, right? That's what's going to carry us to the future. So with that being said, how do we maintain that? So my wife, for instance, she's in a perimenopausal phase, right? So women start maybe not sleeping so well. You're bumping your wake up time from 5:30 to 3:30 and you're like, "Well, that's just normal. I got so much to do today." So I pop up at 3:30, then I go downstairs, I do my thing. By noon, I have a carb load and I feel like I'm going to die on the couch, but I got to work and I got kids to pick up. And you guys just keep like digging through the trenches. Now, if you're aging, the time really doesn't matter. But if you're metabolically aging and now you're grinding through trenches that are deeper than you had to when you were metabolically sound, what's going to happen? You've taken a brand new car, you beat the shit out of it, right? And now you're trying to drive it through a storm. That's a difficult thing to do. The problem is, as doctors, we pin it on you. And why? Because it's real easy. Why? Because women will bear the brunt of any failure of a societal issue, right? The kids act bad, it's got to be the mom's fault, right? Kids got picked up late. Got to be the mom's fault. Something happened to society. Women, but at the end of the day, we lack the medical care. So if you guys are trying to trudge through these kind of storms over and over without the metabolic backing, nutritionally, macro and micronutrient, you're going to go more and more in a deficit. So I'm here to tell you there is a way out chemically. And it's not like a pill, it's not the quick fix. What it is what we talked about before, hormone optimization. So she started feeling those tired headaches, not waking up well, sweating at night, weight gain without eating and being like, "Oh, what's happening? I'm not getting a result with all the effort I'm putting in." That's an obvious quote unquote perimenopausal style thing to happen. And most of your female style symptoms that we once told you just deal with are real symptoms, right? You are changing. And as your muscle mass changes, your hormonal balance changes. As your muscle mass changes and hormonal balance change, your bone density, energy levels, sleep, all of them are affected from one simple thing, hormonal balance. Now, the OBGYNs of the world, and excuse me if you guys love your OBGYNs, but they completely destroyed women's healthcare for about 25 years. Because in 2002, out came the Women's Health Initiative, and out came a statement that said estrogen causes cancer. Think about that. You want to play a really nasty trick on a human. You tell them that the one thing they embrace as the most identifiable factor to their characteristic quality of being a woman is going to kill them. You have just sent them into a state of complete anxiety panic. Imagine your estrogen leaves your body, you feel terrible, and you're told that's going to save your life. Because if you take the estrogen again to feel good, it's going to cause cancer. digest that. Take a minute to think about that tonight. You will never think about that study the same way. The actual data came out and proved hormone optimization therapy reduces breast cancer risk by 34% in bioidentical replacement, which is what we use. All cause mortality went down by 41%. So not only did they lie, pure lie, misrepresentation of data, they then ended up taking 10 million women at the time off of hormone replacement and 30 million women onto antipsychotics, anti-anxiolytics. Think about that transition. If you don't think the boardroom of a pharma company was sitting down and being like, hey, watch this, we'll move all the money because this drug's easier to sell, I don't know if there's better marketing planning than I've ever seen.
You
So
know,
my
I'm planning to post this on YouTube, right?
Listen, I have plenty of people that dislike what I talk about. I have
No, no,
plenty of,
no. I love it. I'm just
oh,
saying that it's not a closed community,
no,
so
no.
it's
Yeah,
gonna
I
be.
speak freely. I invite the
I
CEOs
love
of my
that.
local hospital systems to come on my podcast all the time, but it's only a lose-lose for them, so they'll never show up, right? But once you guys recognize, so you three women that I can see, the five women up on the screen, once you guys recognize a thing that you might think is a symptom, it probably is. Now, MS might distort that a little bit, right? Because you might say to yourself, well, this is an MS symptom. But I have a question for you. At what age were all of you diagnosed relatively? Like between 20s and 40s-ish? All right. How about average age? 30,
35.
35, right? So you guys have kind of hormonally peaked, you've leveled off, and it's odd that maybe in the perimenopausal post-child world where by the way having a child is like a bomb going off in your body, right? It's an amazing thing, but it is a hormone disruptor. And then all of a sudden these symptoms of neurodegenerative disorder happen. I'm not saying it's causal, but I am not saying it's a coincidence either. I do believe that a healthier woman hormonally will cope better with any onset of disease than a non-hormonally well-balanced woman. So even at foundational level, if I know you have more muscle mass going into an MS flare-up, we're going to have a better outcome from that flare-up no matter what we do. It's a hard thing to argue. So the onset of any symptom with my wife, it was really more result of effort and just feeling like kind of down. Like nothing was invigorating. And I think that was an obvious to me. And since then, exercise has gotten better, social life has gotten better, professional life gotten better. So all of that enhanced. Now, she's an interesting character too. She's full-blown celiac, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's mix, rheumatoid. Like she's an autoimmune mess that was missed years ago that we're trying to recover from too. But I don't think there's any perfect age, and I don't know a perfect symptoms. It's truly when you guys start feeling not so good anymore. It's a true symptom.
Yes. It's so interesting to hear all this. I was diagnosed after a miscarriage, so definitely that brought out my symptoms. But I know MS is very complex and it's just a diagnosis at the end of the day. It's just a label that the doctors put on us to treat it with medicine.
Yes.
But I don't think a lot of us, even me a few years ago, I don't think I realized how simple is because when I heard replacement, I thought about like, oh my God, they're gonna take the blood out, they're gonna replace it with something. So
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
sounded so scary. But it's like now I'm hearing like you use a cream, it's so much simpler than you imagine.
Yes.
Tell us where to start. Like you just do a blood work?
Yeah. So, first off, I would highly encourage anybody, if they're not exercising or moving, to move as much to your capacity as you can. So if you're in the heat of an MS flare, you have a real deep MS battle going on. I'm not saying like if you can't get up and go to the gym for like if you don't have the energy, that's one thing. But the more movement you can do, that's the first step. The second thing, entry into any hormone optimization world is going to be a set of labs and a practitioner. I am not trying to sell myself here, but I am selling myself. You have to find somebody like me or me. And I'm not going to leave it up to question because I have to say it that specific. You need somebody who actually understands that you don't want to just survive on your couch as a survivor of MS who can get up in the morning and make breakfast. You want to survive without MS in a way that you can get up and as if you didn't have it. And you don't want a symptom to just be tolerable. You don't want a symptom. And I think if you can embrace an interaction with a human that can understand that, because we may say we're empathetic, we may say we're sympathetic, that I think that doesn't actually exist because there's no way for me to know how you feel. It's impossible. I can't. I can reason with it. I can allow myself to be heartfelt at emotionally how much it might hurt you, but I don't know exactly. So then it comes down to me really understanding what you tell me. And if I don't take the time to listen, I'll never be able to know how you feel. So you have to find the right provider. Once you do that and you find somebody that you trust, that you know is in this for the right reasons, then it comes down to lab work. Now, here, entry is a huge, huge, huge set of data, right? Everything top down. And what I tell people is if you're used to bringing your car to like Jiffy Lube to get your oil checked, this is bringing it to like the European sports car specialist. So whether you're a Fiat or a Yugo or a Ferrari, you're going to get taken care of like you are a custom made gajillion-dollar car that you are the most expensive thing in your world. And that's what you should be treated like. And your 72-point check is going to be looked through, independent of anything else. Full set of data from cardiovascular, lipid, carbohydrate, protein, liver, kidney, all organ function, and then biomarkers that allow us and me to know what kind of place you're in biochemically. Following that, and I mean this, if they do not do a DEXA scan, which is a bone density, muscle mass, fat mass investigation, low energy x-ray, to investigate your visceral fat, the stuff inside your belly around your organs, as well as body comp, muscle mass, bone density, and fat mass, and put those two sets of data together, it is impossible to actually come up with a plan. The reason I say that is I have now found in doing it this way with the biometric data of DEXA scan, which is what I explained as that body comp, you then can make a truly data-driven assessment as to health interventions on the body you're taking care of. Because now you have chemical biomarkers and you have the physical presence of muscle, fat, and bone. And once you put those together, you can then come up with the right balance. So once you do that, it could be any hormonal replacement, it could be any metabolic balance, it could be regular pharmaceuticals, right? Because a lot of pharma were invented for the right reason. We just use them in the wrong place. Cholesterol meds, they are wonderful. Statins got this crazy bad name, even though in some people it will actually save their life preventatively. So everything used in the right way, right? If I take a hammer, I could kill someone with it, or I can build a beautiful house. There's multiple ways to use tools. You have to use them in the right way. So back to my original thing. This is not just a plug for me. You have to find somebody in the right headspace to work with a woman because there's also people that'll just be like, oh yeah, sign up women's health. You got to have the right person, especially when it's you guys. So blood work, DEXA scan, and then I would investigate any use and treatment plans with MS specific people. It's hard with diseases that we call like MS because you're going to have changes in how you feel frequently. So you can't be with a provider that's going to blame that on you. Because if they blame it on you and your emotional response to those symptoms, you're in a deficit already. That person is not on your page. They're not working with you, they're working against you, right? Every symptom matters, every change matters. Now, they might not be able to change everything, you might not be able to directly affect everything, but they have to be cognizant of that. And then I would look at their book of business, right? Are they in this practice for online volume provider, or are they in it for like real life practitioner medical care? If it's a quick check a box, do you fit this category? Screening is like a 10-minute thing online. You click and then you're told, oh yeah, you're going to get a met. Like, stay away from those. Find yourself a true medical professional who loves women's health, and they exist. We are out there. I am more than happy to interact with any of you and all of you. I have a wonderful staff here, but I do promote that. There's a lot of OBs now that are progressive. So you can ask, If they tell you simple things like, oh yeah, and then they're like, take this patch, bad news. It has to be done with a full set of labs. Like I said, I'm more than happy to help guide you through this. Even if we did more of these and you guys just need a little help with like, hey, I saw my doctor and they said A, B, and C, is that good or bad? I have no problem helping you with that too, because all I want to do is get everybody into the right place so that you guys can be healthy. It's not about me.
I love that. Thank you so much. I
Of
really,
course.
really appreciate that. Um, I had another question, and what was it about? Um,
One major thing I do want to say in women's health world, almost before we start with hormone therapy, you have to be sound in your nutrition. So if you're going to enter any sort of metabolic arena, your nutrition has to become something that you focus on. It's almost like the gym. It is one of those things, unfortunately, we have passively engaged with our whole life. You go to school as a kid, they give you food. Your parents give you food, you eat what they give you. You go out to a restaurant, you order what you think you're getting, and they give you whatever they give you anyways, right? So food has now become a passive engagement. Food for you in particular, whoever's listening to this, needs to become an active engagement. It cannot be passive. It has to be protein focused. It has to be carbs. You need carbs to survive, and fat you fill as much as you need. But embrace a carbohydrate, protein rich diet as a female. The carbs fuel your muscles, the protein helps build your muscles. That mentality, that mindset will already get you into kind of a new place for direction. And the process will then become more tolerable because you'll feel better throughout that eating healthier, which most of you, I'm assuming, do if you're
yes, I
on
was
this
about
program.
to say, I feel like most of our members in this specific
Yeah,
community, we are focusing on diet, food, not necessarily diet like losing weight in a
right.
meaning, but eating gluten-free, dairy-free, no processed
Yes.
food, no sugar. So focusing on more eating protein and
Yeah, which is also why when me and you met, I was very, very intrigued by your statements because, and for the ladies out there, you're in a really good spot with her. For one major reason, her entire drive is a natural healing, like dietary restraint, exercise, and using natural remedy because it is. It actually works. Because if you make the foundation of your health that much more solid, any disease symptoms are going to be lessened. So, that was part of my interest in really making sure we maintained this connection.
Yes. So share some information about your patients who have MS. I know you have few.
Yeah. So most of them are in their 30s and 40s. I have one that's an older, I think she's around 68 or so. Metabolically, she might as well be 18 at this point. She's very much on fire, strong woman. Uh, so I have a pretty wide range. Most of them started with symptoms of just a little bit of weakness, headaches, eye symptoms. It's mostly upper extremity. And then we kind of got into them in terms of healthcare. All of them are on some sort of infusion treatment from a local hospital. There's three now that we've gotten off, and they've done it without me trying to get them to. It's kind of on their own accord, but I'm really pleased with it. And what we've had is no flare-ups. The one thing that I have found promotes a huge amount of flare-ups is alcohol consumption. And I find that if a female is like deep in a stressed out phase of their life and they drink, I feel like the symptoms come out a little more so than at other times. Lack of sleep is a huge deal in MS world, right? And I think sleeping is more difficult when the diagnosis is had, but really sleep quality and recovery protocols are a big deal. And I've found that with a lot of these women, when we've enhanced their metabolic profile and they sleep better, they get a huge reward from that. The reason I think behind the scenes, not to get too biochemically on you, but when you recover, you have a big growth hormone surge during the night. And when you have a big growth hormone surge during the night, your liver releases something called IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor. That's an anabolic producer of rebuild. So that allows your body to try to get back to net neutral so that when you wake up the next day, you're not in a deficit. If you're sleeping better and if your recovery is better, that system is enhanced, which means nerve recovery, myelin sheaths of nerves, the nerve conduction, the saltatory conduction with salt chemical transition, all of that becomes better when you're healthier in terms of your metabolic profile. So I found symptomatic coverage of MS almost completely satisfied with a good metabolic balance. And I've had now throughout these clients in three, one of them has been here for now 3+ years, and she has not had one flare up since we started.
That's
And now I'm
amazing.
not promising that to everybody, but I'm saying that's an example. Now I have women that are mid-range and they have a flare up every so often, much more infrequent, and those flare ups last like literally maybe 3 days or something, rather than a 2 4 week experience with like debilitating symptoms that then steamrolls into a worsened life experience.
Yes, we all know that healing is on us,
Yes.
but we can use all this information that you are sharing and your help specifically. So thank you.
Yeah.
For any of us here,
Yep.
can you please share where we can find you, how we can contact you? And then I would like to open up a room. If anybody has any questions, you can type it in the chat.
Absolutely. So my website is www.rtsct.com. That's an RTS Richard Tom Sally. CT Connecticut CT.com. Or if you guys are on Instagram, Lujic LUJIC _ RTS Health MD. If you see me, I don't have a big beard in that picture because that was my first photo op for the business. But yes, that will give you a ton of connectivity. The other thing is you can email rtshealth@rtsct.com. And truly, we take any and all. The initial consult is free of charge. Why do I do that? Because we have to make sure we like each other. That's a big deal. Like I said, the practitioner. The second thing is you should vet me. You should know what I'm doing because if I'm not giving you what you want, you shouldn't sign up with those practitioners. And the third is exposure in this arena is all new. So there's a lot of discovery. You should be a little nervous because you shouldn't just blindly trust anybody with your health. So you got to really make sure that you're on the right page. And I think, this forum is incredible. I really am flattered to be invited, but you guys should feel very lucky to have somebody who I think leads a wonderful charge of healthcare.
I'm not leading our health. I'm focusing on my health. And honestly, since we started this community, my health improved because of everybody. Like I'm learning just so much from all of you guys. So
Yeah.
um, I do have here.
Yep.
Anybody else has any questions here? Please enter it in the chat. Yes. What is your opinion about phytoestrogen capsules produced by doTERRA?
So the phytoestrogen world's interesting because if you think about it, like all of our bioidentical hormones are made from yams. So it's all a somewhat vegetation based product, right? The phytoestrogen world, I don't disagree with it. I don't know that product. So here's what I'll say. When I give somebody an estrogen compound, I am giving them a compounded cream or an injectable, which is the exact bioidentical equivalent. So there will be no need to break it down and alter it. The phytoestrogen world with standardization of it, I'm not opposed to it. I just don't know the longevity of that exact company in terms of quality specific to that.
Mm. Is there any situation where you would not recommend the HRT?
This is a tricky question. So I'm gonna say no. And here's why. There's one situation that you might not want it in. Well, uterine cancers are difficult, ovarian cancers are difficult. Metastatic breast cancers are really the biggest gray zone. And here's why they're a gray zone. If you have a metastatic breast cancer disease that's estrogen or progesterone positive, the thought is if you give estrogen or progesterone, you're going to promote the growth of those cells if they're somewhere in the body other than in the uterus or the breast. Now, it then becomes a quality of life issue too, because a lot of these metastatic diseases, you feel terrible. They then put you on chemo and hormone blockers, you feel worse, and you still end up dying from the cancer. I have now two people that signed medical legal contracts that they won't sue me for because the data exists even in breast cancer patients. If you give hormone replacement, they feel better. And both of these humans feel way better, and their quality of life is incredible with no disease progression. Because by default, estrogen should not cause cancer. Progesterone does not cause cancer. Estrogen and progesterone in a cancer cell may enhance its vitality, right? But it won't take a cancer cell, it won't take a regular cell and turn it into a cancer. So there's truly no actual contraindication. It's more the contraindication that exists relative to the patient's desires. Because quality of life in here is the only thing that matters to me. Truly. I'll give you an insider tidbit on why I'm so passionate about what I'm passionate about. I had a brother who was older who passed away, who was completely handicapped. And I watched a human die because they couldn't move, right? Muscle wasting, metabolic disarrangement. And that human lived to 23 by only the fact that we took care of him as a human, right? That alone proves that with a little bit of effort, you can provide a lot of health. So now you take that individual who was completely behind the ball, right? Had no choice. He had no idea what was going on. He couldn't affect his life at all. He lived 23 years with a terrible disease. So if we do realize that, and metabolically we increase muscle mass, we increase quality of life, you have now expanded somebody's lifespan because the quality's gotten better. So at the age of 64, 65, when diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, I don't know, you want to probably feel good. So then it becomes a matter of can we treat the cancer and treat the emotional support, physical support, mental kind of build up of that chemotherapy situation with hormonal therapy, even to get you to be more proactive in terms of going to the gym, feeling better, appetite, all of it matters. So there's truly no pure contraindication. It's more patient dependent.
Mm, okay. And there's another question. How do you approach secondary progressive MS where there aren't flares specifically, but just steady decline?
Yes, this is a really big approach to pure quality. And what I would say to you is there is no harm in building whatever's not broken, right? By default, if the nerves are irritated, but we build a better vascular system and we build a healthier vascular musculoskeletal system around those nerves, the nerves are going to be less impactful on the degeneration of the symptom. Meaning, if we can have greater muscle mass, if we can have greater vascular control, if we can have greater control over our liver and all these other things, the symptoms by default are going to be better. So my approach to that is, and I'm in the most kind way, if you've just been like, well, I'm done fighting this, no problem. But I do believe if you really want your best like effort coming at MS, right? Because we got to fight it out, coming at it with a solid body, with a lot of muscle mass, with a really balanced chemical profile for micro and macronutrients, there's really no downside that I can see.
Thank you.
Of course.
What kinds of hormone replacements do you recommend? Are those natural or synthetic?
Yeah, so technically they're all synthetic, right? They're all made in a lab. But by default, the ones I use are all bioidentical. So you do not need to, there's no need for you to at all rearrange the chemical compound in your body. You don't have to metabolize it. So what happens is you take the chemical in, it is the exact usable form of it. So I only use bioidentical. The ones that cause increase in stroke, increase in blood clot, all of these things that people are worried about are actually the ones that your local OBs are sending out their door at a constant rate. But anything through here is bioidentical. Now, what does bioidentical mean? Delivery process of a bioidentical hormone can be very different. Injectable, pellets, creams, creams and patches are kind of in the same category. My preferred delivery method are intramuscular or subcutaneous injectable or cream. I'm not a pellet person. Pellets to me are an easy way out for the practitioner. It's an easy way out for the consumer, but it really just throws you into a 3 to 6 month cycle of menopause. And that's not fun for the body. So over time, I do believe pelleting, we will find out down the road, is not the ideal form. Cream or injectable for me are the ideal form because I can keep it more of a steady state. It's very titratable. There's not a lasting dose that we need to finish out. We can change it on the fly. Because remember, as your body comp changes, as you have muscle mass changes, as you have bone density changes, as your metabolism changes, your hormonal balance does as well. So 6 months ago, what might have been good needs to probably change or on the fly somehow without just that previous dose. So, two
Mm,
things on that answer. One, bioidentical hormones are a must. They are natural. They're not quote unquote synthetic that you need to break down to make usable, but they are synthetic because they're made in a lab, and that's okay. They're not bad. The delivery mechanism is really easy in terms of the injection or the cream, and that's what I would stick to. Now, progesterone and thyroid could be in a pill form, and those are fine in pill form. The reason estrogen and women, actually, this is a take home point. If you can remember one thing, if they prescribe you oral estrogen and they have not discussed with you any previous cardiac history, meaning do you have chest pain? Do they know how much plaque you have in any of your vessels? Do not take it. If you're already on it, don't worry about it. You don't have to like go home and throw it out because you've already passed the test. The problem is oral estrogen, when you take it as a pill, goes through your liver. It activates an enzymatic system that causes plaque to bust off soft plaque and cause embolisms. So that form of estrogen, oral, for anybody over the age of 40, and I tell everybody, I don't even care how young you are, but definitely over the age of 40, you should not take or initiate. So if you guys go see somebody and they say oral estrogen, you have to question their judgment immediately. Cream form doesn't go through the liver and injectable doesn't go through the liver. Most women in here go cream, 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 and then eventually get to an injectable because it's a once a week rather than a daily, but otherwise that's the form of delivery that I use.
mm. So much useful information.
A
Thank you.
lot. I mean, I'm trying to get as much out as I can because I know we don't have a ton of time, but I mean,
Yes.
I do this every day, all day. We could talk about this for 24 straight hours, truly.
There's one more question here from Rachel. Thoughts on wild gem cream? I have this and told to rub on inner thighs to help with hormones.
Wild gem cream?
Yes.
I have not heard about that. Let me see.
YAM.
Wild yam cream.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That's my accent.
No,
Sorry.
that's all right. I love it. Okay. So here's what I'll tell you. Um, we could do the same thing just with estrogen. So the yam cream is gonna, I don't know enough about it, but here's what I will tell you about it. The the naturopathic holistic world I love, and I love these types of things, but the easier way to do it is if I or somebody were to give you the exact thing you need and then it's titratable exactly. It's hard to always judge with supplementation and promoters of like hormonal balance that aren't direct effectors because the outside effects of them on other parts of your body is hard to monitor. Are you doing anything wrong? You're not. Like I said, this is not saying don't do that. I'm just saying we could achieve a probably a better profile with direct interaction of, say, estrogen or testosterone or progesterone rather than supplementation. Is this bad? It's really not bad because the push of this is to help you balance your estrogen testosterone so that your test really never outweighs your estrogen. And I'm not opposed to this. I just don't know the exact risk profile of side effect.
There's one more question, two more questions actually, and then we let you go. I know you
Yep.
have a busy day. What about estrogen patches? Are they safe like the cream or dangerous like the pill?
Yes. Patch delivery is safe. Patch delivery is safe. And a patch is not bad. I just think a patch could be made better. If you use a cream, you figure out the exact dose you need per day, and then you can adjust the patch. If they just give you a patch, it will. Here's the problem with a patch. If you're just on a patch and you're not balanced with testosterone and progesterone, the patch will give you just enough estrogen that your body's like, oh, I can smell it. And once you can smell estrogen, your liver's like, aha, I'm a woman again. And it starts to get really excited. And your liver builds this thing called SHBG, steroid hormone binding globulin. So you're still sniffing estrogen. You're like, I know there's enough estrogen around here. I can't find it. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to block testosterone with SHBG. So all the sniffing I've been doing now becomes a full breath of estrogen because there's no testosterone in my way. So if you do that, the patch will quell a hot flash, it'll quell a night sweat. But what it'll do is it'll block your testosterone, it'll cause you to lose muscle, lose bone, and your libido is going to go into the gutter. Now you're using vaginal cream on your vagina to try to enhance sexual pleasure, intimacy, but really that's just a lubricant. Your drive is down. Now you can participate, but you're really not getting the health benefit. That's the dangerous slope with a patch. It sounds like I exaggerated it, but I will guarantee you if anybody's on an estrogen patch alone and I test your SHBG, it's going to be really high and you're probably on a higher dose of testosterone than you need. The reason the cream works better is I can give you a high enough dose of estrogen. You don't just sniff it. Oh, your body's like, wow, I got enough estrogen. So you don't build SHBG in your liver, which blocks testosterone. So then the testosterone given, actually, you don't need as much, comes up a little bit, and you're nice and happy. Libido's good, vagina's excited for intimacy, and you have a good night sweat, hot flash balance where those don't happen.
Mm.
That's my reason for not initially starting with a patch.
I think I have more question now than I had before I
Yeah,
sit down
no, it's a
here.
Pandora's box. And listen, ladies, let me tell you something. Do not leave here, please, on my ability to sleep tonight. Do not leave here and go into panic mode and like just go wholesale, throw your cabinet out, no more patches. Whatever you're doing right now, don't really adjust much. Because if you've been on oral estrogen, well, clearly you didn't have a heart attack because we're talking. So that obviously got you past that stage one. So don't stop that. It can maybe be adjusted. Whatever you do, though, please don't just abruptly stop anything because that'll put you into almost a worse disarray.
Wanda is asking, and this is going to be the last question
No
for
problem.
you. She said, my functional doctor has me
Hey,
on
hey, hey, hey.
patch, cream, vaginal estrogen, and progesterone.
Yeah.
Should I ask for injectable estrogen? I'm
Yeah.
struggling.
Where's Wanda? Wanda, do you mind? Can you talk to me quick? Is Wanda here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Wanda.
I
Tell-
just woke
If
up
you,
because it's
I'm
early
sorry.
here.
If you don't mind, give me a quick little tidbit. So you're on, tell me exactly what's going on.
I'm on 75 patch.
Yeah. Of Est.
Yeah, and that we started at 25.
Okay.
And so this has been a year progress of working up. Um
What's your progesterone dose?
100.
Are you a menopausal female?
Yeah,
Postmenopausal? All right,
menopausal.
okay, so you're going through an altered cycle or you have no cycle?
I have no cycle. I'm 56.
Okay, when was your last cycle?
Uh August of 24.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make your doctor look like a genius right now. You can probably stay on everything the same. Your progesterone resting dose QHS every night should be at minimum, I'm thinking 200 to 250. Now, if it goes above 250, that's not ideal, but a 200 is where you should be. 100's not enough. If you switch that to 100 tonight, if you double up your progesterone, you'll sleep like a baby. You'll be good to go.
So go up to 200.
Yes, every day.
Okay.
I will give that
I'll
medical advice freely. I don't mind. That's no
Well,
harm, no foul.
we
And
did
you're
talk about it, so
yeah,
I'll
and
just
you'll
mention
still
that.
you will sleep incredibly well. What are you on for testosterone?
I'm not on testosterone.
I mean, yeah, you
We're waiting on my latest blood work
yeah,
and
don't wait on anything. There's no honestly, so this is where the progression I love your doctor. Clearly, they're doing the right thing or trying to. If you don't testosterone and estrogen, progesterone in the right amount out of the gate with a good thyroid, you're going to be a little bit like chasing that sleep for a while because now the progesterone is going to kick in. You're going to sleep well. If he didn't or she didn't start you on the testosterone, the next time you start testosterone, your sleep is going to go disarrayed. The reason is your progesterone and estrogen will be in perfect balance, and your testosterone is now going to throw those out because now your liver is going to try to help you with anti-testosterone. We should build these all at the same. So my advice is libido. You don't have to answer me, but if your libido is a dashboard monitor, I'm assuming yours can't be amazing right now. But
No, it isn't.
yeah, so start though with your testosterone. Like if they do introduce it, it has to be so low. Because if they bomb you with testosterone right now, you will end up on like 500 progesterone and you'll end up on like 3 million milligrams of estrogen because they'll be chasing that sleep forever.
Okay.
Wanda, you should email me and I'll give you 30 minutes. I can't, now you're not going to let me sleep tonight.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mm,
and I
thank
mean
you.
that, and you're doing nothing wrong. Definitely double your progesterone, but that's the sleep piece. The testosterone will be the next piece, but they all need to be together. And I know I threw out the word thyroid, but
My
I'm
thyroid is great, according to the last blood work, which was like
good,
literally 2 to 3 weeks ago. And
good,
he said he was super happy with my
good,
thyroid.
good. That makes me happy. All right,
Yeah.
then you're on the right track. I mean, you're in the right place. That next phase though will be that progesterone. You'll feel much better tonight.
Okay. And then eventually the testosterone if we go that route, or I'll
Yeah,
really.
I mean, I would have you're on testosterone. If you tell me you don't have a libido, I mean, for me, that's like everything. I know it's not everything, but it's a big deal. Like you should want to have sex.
Yeah. Okay.
Or else I
So
don't.
yeah, I will email you. What was your email again?
Uh, RTS Health at rtsct.com.
Okay,
And
I got it.
just mention we met on this forum and
Okay.
we'll make it work.
Thank you.
One more question. I just saw it from Prem, and I'm actually curious about the answer. Sorry if you already covered this. Thoughts about birth control did cause all of these hormone issues for all of us.
All right. If you sorry about my sweat marks, I'm a little hot. If you guys like Instagram and you want to know what I think about birth control, all you got to do is listen to what I say. I'm going to tell you in my mind, if you have daughters or whatever, if a birth control is needed for contraception, go with a progesterone low dose, as minimal IUD as you can. Oral birth control is the devil. I'm going to say it again. Oral birth control is the devil. It is the meanest, most evil thing on this planet that they have ever done to women's healthcare. And if you don't think there's a reason IVF is through the roof right now, and it coincidentally worked out that birth control started getting thrown in. Think about it. They throw it at 12-year-olds now as if it's a normal thing to just be like, oh, for their periods. Like, come on, we got to do better, right? Birth control as a consumer, you guys don't really know because you shouldn't. You should trust doctors. I'm here to tell you it is the worst thing you can do. Every single set of lab data, and I can show you guys all. If we do this again, I'll bring with me a little data and stuff. We'll make it a little more interactive. Cortisol through the roof. Any girl you know on birth control right now, I will guarantee you their normal cortisol should be about 19.5, the deciliters, whatever, doesn't matter. Every single girl in here on oral comes in here with 35, 40. I've had people at 80, 80 of cortisol. If you took their blood and you injected it into a normal person, you would have a full-blown panic attack and run yourself out of town. And these women, these girls, and then we say, oh my God, teenage girls are all nuts. Well, yeah, yeah, they are. And you know why they're fucking nuts? Because we give them medications that make them nuts, kill their libido, but they're taking medication for contraception, so they think they should have sex. It's a messed up social scene. And then you get women who go do things because why? Back to the first statement. Egomaniacal, drug addicted brain now wants what? Who knows what it wants, but it's going to go get you to do whatever it wants you to do. And on birth control, that's not going to be ideal. I, if you can't tell, couldn't dislike it more. And if there's an OB on this planet firing it out their back door without like 1,000,000% indication, which are few and far between, we don't disagree on anything medically.
Mhm. Thank you
Nothing.
so much for being here, and we can't wait to have you again.
Yeah, you
I
guys are
will
wonderful.
schedule it again, and thank you so much for this.
Anytime. You guys have been great, and whatever you need from me, let me know. Enjoy
Mhm.
your weekends.
Have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you for being
Bye.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.